The Overwatch League season has been painful for viewers as we watched a game we could not play until now. However, the Great Depression of Overwatch is finally over after 2.5 years of waiting. Nature is healing, business is booming, the player base is returning, and the main event in competitive Overwatch is about to unfold before our very eyes. On a brand new playoff patch, 12 teams across 2 regions will compete for Overwatch's greatest accomplishment on LAN, the first championship in Overwatch 2. London Spitfire. Honestly, it's an accomplishment for London to even be here. Zero Bobucks or expectations on this team to start the season, and they have proved us wrong. However, they have not proved to have any ability to win under pressure whatsoever. I mean, how in the hell do you get sent home and reverse swept by the Florida Mayhem in your 2 tournament appearances this year? Sure, Sparker is pretty good, and if the rumors are true and Winston is meta, things are looking alright for Hottie, but it's not like he's about to outperform many of the other Winston in the league, like Someone, Fearless, or Smurf, and the list goes on. Is this really a team built for playoff success? Neither Shaxx nor Backbone have impressed on the back half of this season, and even though the backline has been bolstered by bringing in Khan, I don't know if they can compete with the likes of the opposition. Maybe breaking out the rush is the best chance they have. Philadelphia Fusion. The story has been the same all season. A team carried by their DPS and held back by their supports, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Seriously, Fixa and AimGod have a damn good case for worst support line in the playoffs. On top of that, Zest injured his aiming arm, so he may not be able to put this team on his back. If Bellisria comes back to the starting 5, it adds another dynamic playmaker to the team, but I don't think it's enough to tip the scales. This team just isn't well-rounded enough for a really deep run. If all of that wasn't enough already, they also have to work against their demon known as the Bad Pachimari Curse, a truly formidable foe. This feels like a one last ride for Carpe, and even though he is placed firmly on the bench by MN3, I couldn't see a more fitting end to his Overwatch career than a first round exit or a Grand Finals loss. Shanghai Dragons. Well, the king has come to defend his throne. Shanghai don't look nearly as dominant as they did last season, but they aren't about to lose their crown for free, especially when this is Void's last ride. Fleta may have the worst tracer stats by a country mile, but Lip and the crew can make up for it in raw gaming prowess. Who Are You is waiting in the wings as a last-ditch effort anyway. The support line is still great, with Izayaki pounding and Lee Jae-gon being good, but a tad ambitious at times. This season, the Dragons have also had a reputation to get off on the wrong foot in new metas, and oftentimes in matches. However, Fate potentially coming through on the Winston could be the leadership that they need to fight off the new blood and stay on top. The clutch gene is still with them. I try to take them out before map 5. Hangzhou Spark. Do you really think it's okay to show your face around here after that monstrosity of a back half of the season? 2-10. For real. And you deny us a Guangzhou Charge comeback run. What happened to Shane? Alpha Yi fell off a cliff after a spectacular start to the season. Changun didn't trust the backline so much that they had to bring Neko out of retirement and sign Peru. This team is shy and nothing more. Unless playoff Changun's mere presence is enough to power up Shy into Super Saiyan mode, they do not stand a chance. The frightening thing about it though, is that playoff Changun's presence could send Shy into Super Saiyan mode, and then we're fucked. I hope the Spark fail miserably, but I have a bad feeling. Atlanta Reign. Overall, a disappointing season for the Reign so far. Sure, they placed 3rd in the 2 tournaments they appeared in, but after ending last season with a trip to the Grand Finals, they wanted more. They definitely did not want a barely above 500 regular season, and to miss the Summer Showdown tournament entirely. Playoff Atlanta is always a scary prospect, especially with Kai and Venom being elite at their heroes, and a strong backline with the late season addition of Vigilante, but I'm not sure if this is the year. If Hawk is forced on the Winston, it could spell trouble, and if Gator makes an appearance, it spells disaster. I don't want to see Hawk's already atrocious death per 10 get even higher, but Gator is not the answer. Speedily has been good, but he needs to be even better if they want a legitimate shot at the championship. He's not reached his full potential yet, but I don't think he'll reach it in this postseason, maybe next year. I have Atlanta marked down for an early exit, and even if playoff Atlanta prove me wrong, I just don't see a grand finals win in their future. Florida Mayhem. All year, this Florida squad continued to exceed expectations. Despite looking like the worst team by a considerable margin to open every single tournament, they never went home first. This hodgepodge of talent has all the signs for upset potential. Someone should be on his best hero, but it's not like he has any bad ones, and Hydron will continue to bench the one-time great XE and look damn good doing it. We've seen flashes from Checkmate all season, but he's been inconsistent, and he needs to play his best for Florida to compete with the top. The somewhat unconventional backline between Rupal, Onimo, and Sermajed works once they find the perfect formula for any given meta, but that usually takes more than a few days, and they simply do not have the time. Florida in general thrive off of meta development and tweaking compositions to make it work best for them over time. But given the circumstances, I fear they will be unable to tap into Gunba's genius before they get sent home. Houston Outlaws? This team is way too goddamn good in the regular season and on paper for another early round exit, but this is the Houston Outlaws we are talking about. I don't care if they beat Dallas on home turf with Dante on Zarya, they will crash and burn miserably. On top of being the Houston Outlaws, which is already bad enough by itself, they also lack a Winston player to step in, and Pelican's Tracer has been spotty at best this year. What, do you think Doge is the key? The Outlaws themselves didn't trust him against the likes of New York earlier this season, and he sure as hell isn't coming in for the playoffs. They have an above average backline with great flexibility, and the trade for creative seems to be working out, but to be a legitimate threat they need Pelican and Merit to be the best goddamn DPS in the playoff, bar none. All I'm asking from you, Houston, is something, but I know that is a lot to ask from you, Toronto Defiant. Welcome to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, Toronto, although you may not be here very long. The only thing consistent about this team is being unreasonably mid in the end. After a good showing in their own Summer Showdown tournament, they fucked it up and limped into the playoffs through the play-ins. This is no Mickey Mouse Junker Queen meta. You will not win off of just good positioning and macro play alone. You need some real heavy hitters to make your mark. The backbone of Twilight and Charong is adamantium, and it better be with how much money they invested into it. Outside of Hisu, this team has no shooters. Big man Hoppa has some decent showings, however he is far from elite and may have to step aside from Yuz anyway, who has been absent from the big stage since the beginning of the season. I don't really care which of Finale or Aldo is in, I don't care what they're playing, they will be diffed by their counterpart in 90% of matchups at best. Make like a leaf and fall. Dallas Fuel. Congratulations on finishing with the top seed Dallas. Now let's translate that regular season success into something tangible, yeah? Oh no! The meta is shifting away from Hanbin's heroes. Luckily for the Fuel, they have this guy called Fearless on the bench. Maybe you've heard of him. With the Hive Mind coming in at full force, they will be the birth child of elite macro play and communication with high-end talent in every single role. There is no clear weakness to this machine, especially with Edison blossoming into a damn good Sojourn player. I hope I never have to see Gurio on stage again. The only possible concerns is that their DPS can get outskilled, especially with Sparkle's signature Genji falling out of favor, and their win rate with Hanbin is far better than that with Fearless in, but there were other issues at that time. This is the team to beat. Seoul Dynasty. Don't fuck this up, Seoul. This franchise has underachieved for far too long, and things are finally looking to be different. Elite talent across the board, a meta that should unleash Smurf on his signature Winston, a dazzling DPS line that has been constantly saddled down by suspect tanks and supports in the past are finally held back no more. Prophet is here to prove he is a current and all-time GOAT, and while Fitz may not be as pop-off as a Shy or Lip, he is consistent and gets the job done. Not every player can be the playmaker on the team after all. A rock-solid backline with the capability to hit their full potential during this run. Vindame has been exceptional all season and Iris looks well integrated, but still not quite up to previous season's form. If this team disintegrates like they did in the mid-season madness, I will be outraged and disappointed. Seriously, this team needs to make grand finals or the playoffs are a failure. Proper. LA Gladiators. Now this is a superstar team. They have 2 tournament wins under their belt, including the International Midseason Madness, but since then they've been quiet. A rough start to the Summer Showdown led them to miss the tournament entirely despite looking really good in the end. Followed by a 6-0 Countdown Cup with Reiner having to fill in for Space's heroes due to illness, although the strength of schedule and quality of gameplay made it feel a bit below the Gladiators' standard. Regardless, Reiner should be able to play his Winston and look to regain some recognition as an elite tank player in the league after a turbulent back half to the season. Kevster is him, Happy is quite good at aiming, Shu is the undisputed best flex support in the league currently, and Funny Astro will be able to play the dive-oriented, aggressive, flashy Lucio play he excels at. None of that joke meta bullshit. The stars seem to be aligning for them to return to their first half of Season 4, but they have definitely lost some roster flexibility with the departure of Tommathan and what feels like an unquantifiable energy that he brought. Maybe I'm just crazy though. San Francisco Shock. While the Shock have been consistently good all season, how deep can Proper really bring them? A Winston meta doesn't bode well for them in comparison to all these teams with elite Winstons when their options are either Kaluge or Mikey. And for some godforsaken reason, Krusty loves playing Mikey when he is simply not good. If San Francisco want even a percentage chance to win, Mikey cannot be played. Striker is a good complement to Proper and ensures he can play whatever will carry the hardest, whether it be Sojourn or Tracer or whatever else. Finn and Violet have been great this season, but have both had some hyper troll moments in tournaments, and they need to put a stop to that immediately or things will not turn out well. Shock have been giving a lot of slack at times due to being an almost all rookie roster, but that ends here. They have a full regular season under their belt, and they've looked to be the best at times, but have not been able to actually win when it matters. I fear there are too many holes in the roster and too much reliance on Proper to actually get the job done once and for all. Regardless of the outcome of these playoffs, we are in for potentially the greatest tournament in Overwatch history. The level of play and talent have never been higher, all while being played on LAN, which has been sorely missed these last few years. If you're interested in my bracket pick'ems, you can see my video from yesterday, and make sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. I've been uploading all season and will continue to pump out content during the off season. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one.